Hi, Purple Loves. Okay, so I'm accepting here. Hey,
Hey, happy Friday. How are you?
how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hi, baby.
She's eating, baby girl.
Aw. Hey, we gotta eat, right? Hello.
That is a fact.
Hey, Jojo. Joey's in the house.
Hey.
Joey, remember Krystal?
Oh,
He got his own baby now, too.
I know. It's so crazy.
It's crazy.
We're all getting growing up, man.
It's so weird.
Aw. That's awesome for him for supporting you as well. That's
I
amazing.
know. We grown. Yup.
Yeah.
Yay. Not the sad face.
It's a blessing, though. It's a beautiful thing.
Nah, for real. For real. It's a lot, but it's a big blessing. But it's a lot. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited about this talk. So Joey, today we're gonna be talking about identity over titles. Joey said two great mamas. Proud bro right here. Aw, love you, bro. Look, she was like, yup, that milk good. Oh, what a cutie. um, so yeah, so we're taught to sometimes we're taught to measure our value by like our titles, our roles, achievements, how productive we can be. Um, but if that changes and if that goes away, who are we then, right? So that's really what I wanted to tap into today. I'm super excited about tonight's conversation because I get to share it with a super awesome woman that we have known each other since middle school. We have not only middle school but dance classes too. We took hip hop together. So we've been able to see each other through like so many different stages of life. Whether that's like middle school, high school, we've seen each other, in relationships. Now as parents, it's crazy. Um, and one thing that's never changed about Krystal is that she has this light, like this natural light about her. And I'm sorry if I get emotional. But anyways, she's always just so grounded in like positivity, in her faith and her family. She's a mom, she's an entrepreneur. She works in network marketing, but most of all, she's someone who truly, truly shines from the inside out. So I wanted to share that light with you guys. I wanted to share because she has so much. I don't know. She just has this positivity about her, and when she speaks, it's like it holds light and it holds power. So I wanted to share that with you guys today.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and to be able to support you and through all these years. Like, that is true friendship for real.
Facts. Yep. Yep. Well, all right, we can get started. If people come in between, we can give a quick little recap. But we'll go ahead and get started. So today's topic is broken down into three parts, and we're gonna be pausing for questions and just for like regular talk. But I do like to have at least some type of like template going because I do have ADHD and I will get off track quick. So So part one we're going to be talking about today is why do we tie identity to the titles, right? Why is that so easy for us to do? Part two is what that mindset and what that way of thinking could really cost us, right? And then part three is how can we reconnect with who we really are outside of those titles, right? So, so today I really want for you to be able to feel free to like stop if you have something that pops up to you. I know that you're very faith driven, and I feel like sometimes when thoughts pop in our head, that's like God kind of saying, "Oh, you got to say this." You know what I'm saying? So if you get anything like that, feel free to be like, "Oh, let me tell you this." Okay? So But anyways, so we tie these identities and these our identity to these titles and these achievements, and sometimes that comes from our culture, right? It could be cultural conditioning, society. Sometimes from childhood we're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, which automatically frames this identity to those roles, or and not necessarily who you are, but like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like a career, right? It's like, what do you want to study? They're not asking, who are you, right? And then of course, external validation. So like titles, achievements, they become proof of your worth, right? Because sometimes society celebrates you when you've grown or when you've done an accomplishment, but they don't necessarily congratulate you for being a good mom, right? You don't get congratulated for waking up every day and going to work. You don't get congratulated for, staying up late to finish that assignment, right? You get congratulated at the end when you finish that degree, or when your kids are accomplished, right? But so it's those little things that we kind of miss in celebrating ourselves for, right? And then of course the comparison trap. So we have access to so much information, so many people around the world, and of course all we see is like the beauty of it, right? So 9 times out of 10, people are posting like their favorite parts of their day, their favorite parts of their family. They're not necessarily posting the things that you go through every day, right? So sometimes that comparison can really keep us stuck in that mind. Do you have anything that popped up in your mind as I said that?
So, oh my gosh, like even when you had originally like talked about all these topics and stuff like that, this is something that I like resonate with. It's so in so many levels, and it's like you said, you don't get that congratulations, or you don't get all of the stuff along the way. It's just, oh, you did it. Let's celebrate that part of it. You know what I mean? And we, as humans, just try to strive to achieve those levels that sometimes we forget what we're trying to achieve, in a sense, because we're just so attached to this title. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, what really is that title? There's so much more to be celebrated that we forget along the way. And sometimes, you don't get that congratulations or that love from the people around you. You have to be the one to notice and realize it yourself. And that's very important, because you can get lost in life just trying to chase these things sometimes,
Yeah, definitely. She's so beautiful.
all
So,
she wants right now.
say it again.
All she wants is me right now, just to be held and to be whole, and all the same.
That's okay. Cutie pie. She literally looks just like you. She's like your little mini me. Aww. You got your girl.
It took me 3 times, but
Yeah, that's it. Just 3.
and no more.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. So sometimes, like you said, when we define ourselves only by what we do, what we accomplish, sometimes we lose sight of who we are, right? Because we get so wrapped up in trying to be that person, right? So I do have a couple questions for you. So the first one is, have you ever felt pressured to define yourself by like a title, a role, or an achievement?
Sorry, I had a timer go off. I'm so sorry. Can you
Oh,
repeat
you're
that
okay.
whole thing?
I got you. So have you ever felt the pressure to define yourself by like a title, a role, or an achievement?
I would say yes, I have. Specifically, I could think of one just off the bat. It would be just motherhood. Like I feel like a lot of people, even without saying or judging, the styling of your parenting and the things you do with your kids. And I would definitely say I've came a long way, especially now with her, being my 3rd kid. But at first, like when you're first time becoming a mom, it's like you're trying to like be the best of the best for everyone else except for yourself and your kid. That at the end of the day is really what matters most, and it takes time to learn that, because not everybody gets it the first time or the first try, and you finally realize, after conversations with God and just your life, who you're really doing this for, and it's really not for anybody else.
Exactly.
So I definitely felt that way, and even in some other scenarios as well, but definitely with motherhood for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had to think about like an easy, quick answer, that's the same thing I would say. Parenthood is just, it can be a beautiful thing, but it could be so challenging if you're so focused on being the perfect parent, right? Because at the end of the day, we're human. None of us are perfect. So there's going to be parts where we're going to look at our lives and be like, dang it, I could have done that better for my kid. Or I could have said that better. I could have been more loving when I corrected this behavior, right? Instead of snapping. And sometimes, we don't put our best foot forward because we've been putting our best foot forward in other things in our lives, right? Whether that's coming home from work and you're tired because you've been working hard all day, and now your kid is like, mommy, 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 and you're like, whoa, 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 But then you got to think in your mind, I'm like, dang, I haven't seen you all day, So it's like trying to find that balance of when do I put that role away and stop creating this imaginary perfect parent that I need to be and just be the parent that I am.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Um, Another question I have for you in this part is, how have you learned to root your identity in something deeper than just what you do?
Ooh. I feel like I've learned it through trial and error, and learning like just over time that like it's okay not to be perfect, like perfect doesn't exist. And me having the conversations with myself, whether it's daily, like something I do as a practice, right? At the end of every night, and if you're a parent, if you're not, I feel like most people do this sometimes too, because I used to do it before I had kids. But at the end of the night, I always reflect on my day. Like, hey, what went well? What didn't go well? So as a parent, especially, I have these conversations with myself, and I feel like realizing things that I can get better at, but just being okay with, not being perfect every day is something that's helped me extremely throughout this journey. And I'll continue to do that forever through all of my days. So that would be my biggest point for sure. I don't know. How do you feel? Like, what's something else that you would think? I want to know.
So, I love that you said that you talk to yourself because that keeps you connected to who you are, right? Outside of those roles. And I kind of do this, but I'm not like, I feel like I'll start thinking about my day and then I'll get distracted and be like, oh, I need to pray, and then I'll get distracted and be like, oh, did I set my alarm for tomorrow? Or you know what I'm saying? Like my brain kind of like flies away and like tries to like make sure that I finished my day. But one thing that I do to ground myself is through prayer and meditation, because I feel like for me, my brain can get very scattered. My thoughts can be all over the place, and it's only when I have quiet or like instrumentals kind of in my head, like I'll put my headphones on, and that's when I can finally be like, boom, quiet. Focus on what you're trying to do. So that's how I can kind of like come back to myself, because without that, I feel like I'm still like, the to-do list is still open, if that makes sense.
Another thing I was going to say too, something I suggest. Okay, that's fine. Good job. Another thing that I would suggest too that's helpful, but I want to be light with this, is I'm a huge, I'm super old school with it. So to be able to, when you have those, when you have those things and those thoughts and stuff like that come on your head, instead of writing it down on our phones, because we already spend so much time on our phones, I legit have sticky notes. Like one of my biggest Amazon orders, I swear, is sticky notes. All of them, I have them in the house. But I'll write down the things that I need to do for my day, right? And I'll continually try to cross them off. But I've noticed with that something that, and I'm glad that I've noticed the behavior, like having these conversations with myself, say at the end of the day, is I can't write too much because it becomes overwhelming. And every single day, there's 1,000,005 things that you're going to have to do. And then there's going to be that additional thing, just because you're like, oh, you know what? I could do this. But it's intentional with the things that I do write down, making sure that I have a moment to circle back around and get to it, so I can just keep myself on a good flow. And it doesn't work every single day, but I will say the majority of the days that I do use it and it's successful is a really great like tool that I've used to help myself. So maybe that could be something too that you do.
Yeah, because that's what I do at work.
Exactly. That's why I
So why not tie it to personal?
Exactly. I would do it for clients, and I'm like, wait, I'm doing this for clients and to help somebody else. Essentially, I need to be putting practices in for myself, and I love it. Like right now, I would take it, but I don't want to mess up the phone. My phone is sitting on my sticky notes and plastered on my wall. So I love being able to have that, and it's like that satisfaction when you're done with something. Like, ooh, let me take it and throw it away because I finished it. And it just, kind of like a fun mental game that you play with yourself. So
yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Okay.
So do you have any thoughts before I move on to part 2?
Not right now. No. This is good. This is really good so far. So I really do like this.
Okay. So part 2 is the cost, right? Of having that mindset of being stuck in what my titles are, what my achievements are, how productive am I, right? Instead of who you are, right? So again, we talk about, sorry, I lost where I was. Let me pull up my notes because, girl, if I don't have my notes.
Right.
Okay. So then, the cost of the mindset, right? Burnout and pressure. That's like a super big one, right? I feel like we've all been there, right? Some of us are still a little learning on this. I think this is very big for me, which is why I wanted to talk about it. That constant striving, right? The constant going after goals. And when you hit a goal, now you have a new goal. And then another goal is coming right after that. Striving for titles, achievements. Sometimes that can create stress, right? And exhaustion. And then we're so focused on this achievement and we're getting so exhausted that we start losing that connection. We get disconnected from what actually matters. And this kind of goes with what you said earlier too. Hi.
Yeah, sure, I'm muted, so.
You're like, you better get on. Okay. So we got burnout and pressure, right? So we got all these achievements we're trying to get. We got all these titles that we're pursuing, and it creates stress, exhaustion, and disconnection from what actually matters. Then we got the loss of self in those transitions, right? So when we shift those goals, so when we graduate, when we change in our careers, when we become a parent, it can feel sometimes like you're in an identity crisis, right? Like, who am I now? Like, I knew who I was when I was in school, but now that I'm like going into finding a career, who am I now? Or I knew who I was when I was medical assisting, but now I'm in a chemical lab tech. Who am I now? Or I knew who I was before my kids. Now I have my kids. Who am I now? Right? So it's like, it can feel like you have that identity crisis because the worth that was tied to like that old label or that old version of who you were. And then the last one is the inability to rest, right? So without a title or achievement to point to, sometimes like when you have that downtime, it feels like I'm failing, I'm lazy. I should be doing something right now instead of resting. So again, it could lead to that guilt. So, how do you feel hearing that?
It feels like my day to day, exactly, specifically. And this is something that, let's be real, it happens very often as a parent. I don't feel like I experienced it as much when I wasn't a parent. Still got there, but not to this degree. Because at the end of the day, when you do have kids, whether you have 1 or you have 10, you have another life that you are responsible for, that you're trying to do a good job for. So with it comes a lot of pressure. You're trying to make ends meet for your family, for your spouse, for your kids, for yourself. And it's a lot to balance, honestly. And like you mentioned before too, with like people just showing like the good parts and like, this perfect highlight reel, it's none of that. Like there's a lot of being real, and you realize that, there's a lot of stuff that happens in between that it takes a lot to build, and there's a lot of burnout, there's a lot of pressure. You have to strive for a lot to make things happen, and it can be very tiring and overwhelming. Like today, after work, like I've been up since God knows how long, like 6 a.m. to get a workout in. I worked from 8 to 4. I still have my kids to balance and do all the things in between. Yet I tried to get up to do something for myself. But then when I'm also done at work, it's like the day, it still keeps going. And as a parent, you never get an hour to be like, okay, well, I'm going to be a mom from 8 to 5. And then I'm also going to just do this from this to this. You have to balance a lot of roles at once.
Mm-hmm.
And some days are easier than others, but it's a lot of, it's a lot of pressure sometimes. And that's why it's nice to have people along your side to talk to about things sometimes, because not everybody always understands, and they never will. Sometimes when you're even having a conversation with your spouse, they don't understand where you're specifically at because of the things that you have going on in your head. And I think that it's one of those things that when you get to that point of like that level of exhaustion where you know you need a moment, we can't have that guilt and feel like, oh my gosh, we can't take it because we're not going to advance and we're not going to, get to where we need to be. Sometimes that rest is so crucial and so important that without it, we won't advance to the next, let's say just the next day. It's not even about reaching the next level of like achievement or whatever. It's just to get through the next day. Sometimes it can, that hard. So,
yeah.
But parenting is a lot like that. They don't prepare you for just life in general. There's things that happen that, you could read 1,000,000 books in the world, but until you're going through it, you're in it, you're living in the situation, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is it. And it's crazy.
This is real. Yup. And honestly, from what you said, like, it makes so much sense. And I love how you're always going back to like the day to day. Because at the end of the day, that is who you are, right? Like who you are in the day to day, not just who I am when I graduated, not who I am when I got promoted, not who I am when I'm clocked in at work, right? It's that day to day in your personal life. That's really who you are, right? And it's like coming back and just thinking about what do I need to do so I could be me again tomorrow? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I want to be the best version of myself, what do I need to do right now? So like, do I need to go to sleep 30 minutes earlier? Do I need to, after I put the kids to bed, do I need to stay up late so I can have some me time? Because sometimes you got to do that,
I always say, one of my fun little sayings that I always say that I've like lived with for a very long time, especially in my adult years, like early 20s, like getting into my 30s, but un día a la vez, like one day at a time, like that has been, that's just, to get to that 100th day, you got to do one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's so crucial and so important. And I sit here to myself all the time and remind myself, Krystal, you want that goal or, you want the end result, but you have to take it one day at a time. You can't skip over it. It's one day at a time. So.
Yep. And sometimes it's a little difficult. Because we see that end goal. We're like, I could do it right now. I could do it tomorrow. No, girl, rest. It can wait till next week. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. It's tough. So, I do have a question. So, as a mom and an entrepreneur, have you experienced those moments where you felt like not enough without the right title or that achievement, right?
Daily, every day. It is. I can't even, my day earlier today, I can't even, like, if I were to begin to explain. And it's just like, it is so hard to find time. I'm talking even just 5 minutes of alone time to just work on something. Like me and my partner, we don't have like help to just, hey, drop baby off at grandma's house or grandpa's house or take him here and take him there. I am with my kids 24/7. Yep. And there's a blessing in that because, I know that they're under the most amazing care, but it's also, I feel a lot of pressure and a lot of challenges because that also puts a little bit of a hinder on my time by myself being able to advance. Right. So I sit there and have talks with God and really use my time wisely. I think I do a pretty good job. There's ways that I could be doing a better job, but it's hard when you've worked all day. You've been up literally from, I'm also breastfeeding. I'm up from 2 a.m., maybe sometimes 4 a.m. Then I got to go to work early. Then I got to be up with the kids until they go to bed. But then I also get tired. So it's like you have to figure out and pick and choose what you want to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And the hardest part is just finding that time. But I just try to use the time as best as I can. If I feel like everything takes me so much longer, like, and I get mad at myself sometimes, even for simple things, trying to read a book. But if I only get 5 minutes, I'm just grateful and blessed that I did have those 5 minutes, because the one thing I'll never do is make an excuse. So something that may take the average person maybe a week to do, it does take me about 2 months. No lie.
Yeah.
It could take me a 2-week period. But unfortunately, with my lifestyle and the time that I have, it's something that I've learned to finally be like, okay, Krystal, knowing this, when you go in and you make a game plan, make sure your game plan is realistic. And you don't say that, okay, it's going to take you a day, when in reality, your day, for you to get a day's worth of time that the average person would have, that's really going to look like about a week or two for you. And it's hard to learn and realize that. So it's just, the name of the game. So,
yeah. But when you set that realistic goal, when you do it, you feel good and you feel empowered to keep going, But if you set unrealistic goals, then you're going to feel defeated, So it's good that you have that like mindset where it's like, I'm going to do something that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to overwhelm myself. I'm not doing it. Hi. that mama look like, I know. I done told you now. Don't let this Caribbean come out on camera, okay?
Before I have to hit mute real quick.
Yup. Yup, I already know. So, those feelings that you talked to me about just now and your strategies that you talked to me about, what helped you move through that feeling? Like, outside of those tasks or those things, like, is there something that you write down, an affirmation, journaling, a prayer? Like, what's something that helps you move through those feelings?
Honestly, just remaining and staying in faith. There's a lot of conversations that I have with God, and there's another big thing too is, when you have kids, they always say, oh, it doesn't last too long. Honestly, that simple thing with me just being able to be with my kids 24/7 and being able to literally see on a daily basis firsthand that it does not last that long, that's all I need, because I know that things are going to happen in seasons.
Yeah.
I'm just okay with the fact that I may not necessarily be exactly where I need to be, but I'm exactly where I need to be, if that makes any sense.
No, facts.
I may not have gotten the laundry done, or I didn't read my book, but I got to spend time with my newborn. Before you know it, she's not going to, you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm about to get emotional. She's not going to be this age anymore. And I'm not going to walk time. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I'll look back knowing that, like, I gave it my all in that moment. Last time moves forward, it's like God's gonna rearrange things the way that they should be at the right time. So that's
exactly.
So
I love it. It's so true. My baby, one of them is 10 and one of them is 7, and I just look at them and I'm like, what happened? How are you here already? It's crazy. But we're in the same situation. We don't have family that we could be like, hey, we're gonna go out on a date. Can y'all watch the kids? No. No. We got the YMCA. That's okay. If we want some alone time, we can go work out. It's either that or we take turns, like, oh, y'all are going to spend some daddy son time and then mommy son time. And then that'll be daddy's alone time and mommy's alone. You know what I'm saying? But you can still hear him across the room,
Exactly.
So, but we make it work. You find those pockets of time, and those pockets of like time that you could spend together as a couple too, right? Because it's not just you. It's like part of you as a married couple or in a relationship that's so serious with children and love. You want to have that connection too, right? Joey said, well said, Krystal.
Oh, thank you.
And I know he's feeling it because he got a baby too. So he's probably looking at his baby like, dang, one day you're going to be walking around,
It goes by that fast. Like, I feel like I just had all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. And it just, It's crazy. And I feel like it may be different for every person because not everybody has, I don't know, everybody parents different, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but like
Yeah.
I have kids for a reason, and they are a part of my life, and I want them to be like I want to do things with them, but that doesn't make it any easier. It's still challenging,
Yeah.
and it's just, I just pray that as they get older and one day they know and maybe they'll watch this video.
Yeah, you never know. Shoot.
They'll see that, like, dang, like my parents really did love me. And I have a crazy story to say about that too, really quickly, not to like take this off topic, but my middle son just had surgery earlier this week, and we were in the hospital. It wasn't a crazy surgery, but it was an overnight stay. And
Yeah.
nurse said to us before we left, she said, "It is so refreshing to see a family that loves their kid." And I'm thinking to myself, like, what? Like, to see a family that loves their kid? Like, I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't a family love their kid? Like, just because they're hard and there's burnout and there's pressure, and just because I yell at my kids doesn't mean that I love them any less. And
Right.
it's just so eye-opening to me that, like, sometimes there are people in this world that may put them, like, they just don't necessarily value a child, and a child is a gift from God, and not all gifts come with these sparkling packages and all the things, and you have to love what you're given no matter what. And just I truly love and admire my kids, and like I said, it doesn't make it any easier. There's a lot that changes you as a person when you have them, but this is just, I don't know, all part of the game, and I love it. All the challenges, the crying, I love it. So
And you know what's cool too? It's like when you talk to your kids and like you explain to them things, they literally do listen. Like they literally do absorb. Like my kids now, they know because we're parents that like don't have that like support right away. Unless we're on vacation, that's when we get a babysitter. You know what I mean? But like outside of that, where we live, we're so far from our families that we don't have that. So my kids know when I tell them, I said, hey guys, it's mommy's time. Mommy's gonna go meditate, or mommy needs quiet time to go do this, or blah, blah, blah. They know. They're like, okay, mommy. Because now they're in an age where they understand. You know what I'm saying? But if I keep denying myself that need to stay in touch with me, right? Because I do need quiet for me to stay connected with myself. Like, and everyone is different. Some people don't need that. But for me, I do need that to like center, right? So I taught my kids as they got older, obviously. When they were little, you got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure it out. It could be in the shower, it could be you in the bathroom or in the closet for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But it's like as they get older and they start understanding and you can have those conversations, they're like, "Oh, it's normal." And now sometimes my son will tell me, "Mommy, I'm going to go relax. I'm
oh,
going to go relax. I'm going
there's
to go lay down and relax." I'm like, "Okay, excuse me. Relax from what?"
no, but that is and it's like I look forward to those days, but I also at the same time I'm not trying to rush the process because as you know, as a mom of two, it goes by quick. So like I look forward,
Pause.
and I know it will get easier, but right now it's hard as hell.
Yeah, because you got three littles. Yeah, that's tough.
It is.
Yup.
Sure is.
Okay. So, part 3. Reconnecting with who you really are. Right? So this is the good part. This is the part where we can talk a little bit. Say it again?
I said it's all been good.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks to you though, because I don't know, I just love being able to have these conversations, and I feel like they're so important for like our friendship too, you know what I'm saying? But then also being able to like share it with other people, and whoever comes across this at whatever time they come across it, it's really important. It's stuff that we all go through, whether you're a parent, whether you're a student, whether you're changing careers, whether you're just stuck and you have no idea what your next steps are, right? Because I've been there too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing? So reconnecting with who we are, right? So the root in our core values. So identity anchored in what you stand for, right? That could be integrity, kindness, honesty, resilience, loving, caring, right? Your faith, right? These things that you stand for. And those will always last beyond those titles and beyond those achievements and beyond the seasons that we go through in life, right? And then another part is focusing on impact and not labels, right? So like who you are reflected in how you make other people feel, the presence that you bring when you walk into a room, not the title that you carry. So like when I introduced you, I didn't introduce your titles first. I introduced what you bring. I said that Krystal, I've known her since middle school. Ever since I've known this woman, she has brought light everywhere she goes. She brings positivity. She's always got a smile on her face. And then I said, she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur, and she works in network marketing. So it's like, that's what I see when I see you first. I see who you are at your core. And then I see those titles and what you've become through time, right? On top of that. So it's very important for us to do the same thing with ourselves because it's so easy to see it in other people. And then when we look in the mirror, it's so hard to see it, right? So, and I'm a big one with that because I'm quick to be like, oh, Krystal, okay, and then I'll be like, my mama, and I just love to like shout people out for things that I see in them, right? But then sometimes I'm so hard on myself with that. And it's so difficult to like be able to see that within myself. And that's something that I'm still working on to this day. And then, yeah, I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
No, I'm saying same.
Yeah. It's so hard. It's so easy to focus on like the things that we need to improve or like, oh, this person has that. And I feel like if I just worked a little harder, I can get there too. But it's like, no, like you have things that other people see as well, right? So, but we got to constantly remind ourselves of that. And then the last part is rediscovering your passions and your joys. So leaning into those activities that bring you joy, leaning into those hobbies that you've always wanted to try, those interests that light you up, right? So sometimes those things can reveal like our authentic self beyond those roles. Those things that you've wanted to try since you were a kid, or that thing that you saw in a commercial and you're like, oh my God, I want to try that. Or that thing that passed by social media, because sometimes social media is a mind reader and they know what you're thinking about. It's crazy. Like how y'all know that I'm interested in a bubble bouncy place? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so random. How did you know I love bubbles and I love bouncy places? Like, how you know that? But yeah, like identity and values, like how you make people feel, passions that aren't tied to those roles. Like your worth is in your being, not just what you do and those things that you're doing, right? So with that said, I said a lot of words, sorry. What's one core value or quality that you've held on to no matter the season that you've had in your life?
Being positive, no matter what. Honestly, being positive no matter what. I'm the type of person that I could be struggling, okay? I could have a penny to my name or I could have $1,000,000 to my name and you would never know. Because no matter the season that I'm going into or that I'm in or what I'm going through, I'm always going to find some type of positive. My arm could be hanging off by a limb, on a limb, whatever. And I'm going to find some positive in that. Well, at least I have another arm. Or at least this is, at least my nails look good or something. You know what I mean? Always been like that. And I know one of my brothers, he's not my real brother, but blood couldn't make us any thicker. He always says, we lived together at one point during one of the hardest seasons of my life. And I kind of instilled that value in him. And he used to get so mad, like, oh my God, Krystal, just shut up. Like, you keep saying positive.
Just be mad.
That and the other, but he's like, you know what though? That has stuck with me through my adult years and in my manhood to where I'm like, yo, like, I gotta find some type of positive into something, and it's something I will always and forever do, and hold on to that. So
Yeah.
what
You know
about
what's
you?
funny?
Hmm.
I feel like I'm the same way. Like, I will, and don't get me wrong, I'll have like a day where I'm like, oh my God,
Oh, of
what am
course.
I gonna do? But then my brain starts going, wait, Karina, but don't you remember you've been through something crazy before? Or don't you remember that you've overcame worse things? Or don't you remember when you were in this part and I got you over here? And then I'm like, okay, this is temporary. Like, I gotta remind myself this is temporary. Like, is gonna be fine. Like, this can't last forever. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, for me, it's pretty similar. It's like staying positive and speaking. Like, I'm really big on manifestation, especially when I'm like meditating, when I'm praying. Like, I'll try to speak what I want because I want to meet. I'm a believer that you got to meet God halfway. Like, don't be praying for a job and you're not applying nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the work. Behind the prayer, there has to be an action because God has to see that that faith is there.
Yes.
You can't expect like a job to fall on your lap. You can't expect if you're concerned about your child, their health, right? If you don't go see a doctor, how you gonna know?
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Like my son, my oldest, he has autism, ADHD. It took me years to get diagnosis. Years. Because one person will say, oh, developmental delay. The school will say developmental delay. And I'm like, what is that? That doesn't help me. How can I help my child? I need services, and developmental delay doesn't fall under any services. So I had to do it myself, right? So that time was very stressful for me, but I knew that I was going to find the right person that was going to lead me to the right resource, that resource was going to lead him to get help, and he was going to be fine. And then I had to come to terms with my expectations of what my child would be like and being surprised when that expectation was not what was real life. Because now I'm concerned. Now I'm like, oh my God, how's he gonna do in school? Oh my God, is he gonna have friends? Are people gonna bully him? Is he gonna have a hard time? How's he gonna work when he gets older? Will he be able to drive? You know, all these crazy thoughts start popping up. But now as I've seen him grow, he's doing so good. And he has his little quirks, you know, but I love that about him. Like, I think it makes him who he is and it makes him unique. Just like for me, like, I get hyper. We know this. We went to school together, middle school, high school, and class clown, you know, we just was wilding, doing like being silly, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I see those things in my kids too. Like, they're silly. You know what I'm saying? So it's so funny to see that maybe things that my parents were nervous about with me growing up. Now I'm like, oh my God, are you good? Is everything gonna be fine? You know, we're like so hyper focused on that. But again, that positivity and that keeping that positive mindset and knowing that everything's gonna work out fine helps so much. It really does. And then I'm sorry.
But we know that in the end, everything's gonna be all right.
Exactly. Facts. And then I have another question. How do you remind yourself of your worth outside of your titles?
I would say I always draw back to this like saying, but it's like what's for you is for you. And that for me, it's like, you know, you don't want to always compare yourself to other people, like you mentioned earlier. And I used to be somebody who does that. But then because I know that God has something for each and every single one of us, I remind myself that like it's almost like a confidence thing. Not to say I'm like, oh, I'm the shit, you know what I'm saying, all that. But sometimes, like in all reality, you have to know that you are. And be confident in who you are and that you have, like you said, everybody has a gift, and I've got something special to share. You have something special to share. And just know that whatever you're here to offer, your purpose, your gift, your value is yours.
Yep.
And not a single person on this planet can touch your worth.
Yep.
I just remind myself, I may not always be confident every single day about that based on how I look, how I feel, whatever. You're like, life is life, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing that I always draw back and know. And I also just kind of, I really pause and kind of look around me, and I'm like, these are the kids that I have that I'm blessed with. These are the things, it may not be all the things that I want in this moment, but I'm grateful for what I have. And I know that because of what I have and my worth and just being grateful of it, I know that God will give me all the things that I need because I'm staying faithful to Him.
Yep.
And I just need to stay on that path and not worry about what anybody else has, because that's not for me.
Yep. Hey, Nika, thank you for coming.
Hi.
Krystal, meet Nika. Nika, meet Krystal. Nika, Krystal is a really good friend of mine. We've known each other since middle school, okay, and dance school. Aw, thank you for the fan club. So yeah, so we've been chopping it up, talking about, I'm just gonna give her a quick little recap. So we've been talking about identity and how those roles and worrying about those achievements and our productivity, and basically that we're more than what we do, right? So we broke it down into several parts. Part one is why we tie identity to our titles, right? So cultural conditioning, external validation, and then that comparison trap, right? And Krystal was just mentioning that, which is funny. Then part two, the cost of the mindset, right? That mindset of those identities and getting stuck in what those roles are, right? And sometimes that causes us that burnout, that pressure, that stress. Sometimes we lose ourselves in transitions, right? When we're going from graduating to now in the career, or we're changing career, or we're becoming a parent, or we're in a serious relationship now. Sometimes those roles shift can cause us to lose a sense of identity, right? And then the inability to rest, because sometimes we're going so hard, we're so focused on the next thing that we feel guilty when we finally have a moment to relax, or we feel guilty for taking time to relax, right? When honestly it should be a normal part of our time. And then part three is reconnecting with who we really are. And that's the part that we were just talking about. We were talking about, having that root in our core values. So having an anchor, identity anchored in what we stand for. So we've talked about family, we've talked about faith, we've talked about resilience. And those things last beyond the titles and beyond the seasons that we're at in life, right? And then focusing on our impact and not necessarily labels. So, like, how are we touching people's lives? How are we making people feel? How do people feel when we walk into a room, right? So, those are the things that your presence can bring that is really who you are, your core, versus that title. And I kind of made an example of Krystal. I always feel like she brings so much light and so much positivity to the room that that's what I shared about her when I first introduced her. Not her titles, not that she's a mother, not that she's an entrepreneur, or that she works full time, because that's who I see her as, right? And then rediscovering our passions and joys. So, like, leaning into activities, and hobbies, things that bring us joy and that reveal that authentic self beyond those roles. So Krystal, I know we talked about that core value, and then how do you remind yourself of that worth, your worth outside of those titles? And I appreciate you sharing that with me. But now that we have someone engaging, I'm curious if your job or role or achievements disappeared tomorrow, what would still be true about you today? And Krystal, if you want to answer that, you can too.
I feel like it would all still be true. I wouldn't really change really any of it. I feel like this is me, And I feel like as we encounter more things in life, whether you get a new position or own a business and this, that, and the other, your character is going to follow through with you, you know, and in certain roles, certain characteristics may evolve more than others. I feel like I would still be exactly the same. Yeah, I might be a little less stressed. It might be a little more chill, but I would still be me at the end of the day. So
Yeah. Mika said, I relate to this so much. It's needed, ladies. Yup. Facts. So for me, honestly, similar answer. I still feel like I'm that positive person. I still feel like at the end of the day, naturally, I feel a need for myself to push forward, right? Whether that's through obstacles, whether that's the next goal. I feel more in touch with myself when I have a goal in mind. Because I feel like if I don't have a goal in mind, I start overthinking and I get in my head and I start disconnecting from myself. And oh, sorry, I don't know what's happening here. Drag a puzzle piece. I don't know what TikTok is doing. They think I'm a robot or something, I guess. Anyway, I just had to finish a little block. But anyways, yeah, like I feel connected to myself when I'm pushing forward. I feel connected to who I am at my core when I can do things that, bring me joy and bring me, it's weird, but like it brings me a sense of peace too, right? Knowing that I'm doing something that I feel passionate about. And that includes parenting too. Cause I love my kids. And like you said, sometimes, and it's so true when that nurse made that comment about seeing you with your kids. I feel like a lot of people, don't share that. And it's very sad. And honestly, I'm not even mad at it too much because how busy lives can get. It's so easy to disconnect if you're not constantly checking yourself. So as a parent, I can imagine it's even harder for some people, especially single parents. Like think about, a single parent raising 3 kids. Imagine that, right? Like not having that spouse or that partner or a family member that's there that can be that support. So, but again, this conversation is not meant to point fingers. It's not meant to say I'm better or this person's better. It's just meant to help you reconnect with yourself. And hopefully through these conversations and these topics that we've talked about, it's something that will encourage you to really dig deep and connect with yourself again, no matter what stage you are in life, whether you're a student, a parent, whether you're in a transition in your career, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, getting started, right? So it's like, this is for anyone that's ever felt disconnected from themselves and so focused on achievements and so focused on the roles and titles that they play.
You know what I was going to say too, Karina?
Yeah.
I feel like I wish I would have heard this in my life after a bad breakup or something like that too, like I know we mentioned a lot about parenting because most of us nowadays are parents and stuff like that, but if you're going through just like a period of your life where you're like just waiting, maybe trying out of a breakup, or maybe you've been single for a while or something like that, this is also something that can really benefit you. I feel like these conversations that we had, just as far as titles, because at that point too, it's like you're an individual, like waiting for the next step, the next level. And it's just, again, if I could have heard this back then, I think this would have been something that I really needed to hear back then. Off my phone. I think I could have really benefited from this. So.
Yeah. No, honestly, same. Even as a student, like it can get so stressful when you're trying to like finish your degree and you have to work at the same time, because 9 times out of 10, if you're a student, you got to work, right? So it's like juggling, your classes and your assignments and making sure you're part of extracurriculars, because now, if you're not a part of a club, were you even in college? You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many expectations with school and the grades that you get and how quickly you finish, and who were you involved with? Did you do internships? Did you know what I'm saying? It's so many moving parts that even for them as well, I feel like this is a big topic, something that could truly help. So every week I always do some type of like mini action step or homework. I always like to leave people with something that they can do outside of the lives, something that they can keep with them if they feel like it would be helpful. I would love to share that for you guys. So I want to challenge you guys to take a few minutes this week to write out, who am I outside of my roles, titles, and achievements. So I'm going to repeat that again. Take a few minutes this week to write out, who am I outside of my roles, titles, and achievements. So I suggest that I'm going to give suggestions, but you do what feels right for you. List 3 qualities that you love about yourself, right? So answer those questions and list 3 qualities that you love about yourself. Name 3 ways you positively impact others. So name 3 ways you positively impact others. And then identify what one thing that makes you proud, not tied to work or your roles. So I'm going to repeat those 3 one more time. So list 3 qualities you love about yourself. Name 3 ways you positively impact others. And identify one thing that makes you proud, not tied to work or the roles that you play in life, right? So anytime that I do any type of homework challenge or any type of journaling prompt, best believe I have done it before. So these things, I feel like for me, when I'm able to think things out and then put it in writing, it's almost like a prayer has been said. I know that sounds silly, but like, when sometimes when you feel something and you feel like you need to talk to God and you do it and you feel like a sense of ease, it's the same thing when you write it down on paper for me. I feel like it's the truth now. It's becoming the truth. So it really helps me specifically. So I hope that it's able to do the same for you guys. Does any of that sound cool to you, Krystal?
I love this. I can't wait to do it and share it with you.
Yay!
And I think it's awesome because we're about to go into a new month, so it's like these things that we are like, about to write out about ourselves, about identity and all of that. We need to take this, run with it, and like blast off for the rest of the year with this and keep these things in mind and revisit it from time to time. It's not like we're going to do this today and always have everything right in the front of our head. No, life happens. Like things are going to get thrown in the way, but this is something really, really great that should be revisited and we should definitely draw back to, because you have to center yourself sometimes,
Yep.
Yes, love this.
So again, we're almost done now. We're getting to near the end of the live. So I wanted to kind of end on a good note. I wanted to do like a quick little recap. So again, like titles can be a part of you, but they aren't all of you, right? So your values, your heart, your presence, those things matter more than what's on your resume or your achievements or your degrees. You're allowed to exist beyond your productivity, right? So I want you to write down this affirmation. My worth is constant. Titles change, but who I am remains. I'm going to say that again. My worth is constant. Titles change, but who I am remains. Hi, cutie. He has your smile.
You think so? I think he looks just like his dad.
He do look like his daddy, though. I'm not gonna lie. But that smile, you know how you got that cute, like, little smile right here, the little thing right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, he got that.
He's the one that had the surgery, but he's doing better.
Oh my God, he looks so good. Hi. You feel better?
That's Maverick. That's the oldest one. They're wearing the same outfit, so they look the same.
No way. Stop. They look like twins.
They do.
How many people say that to you?
Every day. Every single day. No lie. If I got $1 for every time we were asked, no lie, I would have been able to quit my job by now. Like, no lie. No lie. And then every time we go to the store, we always bank on it. We're like, I bet you these people are going to ask us, are they twins? Sure enough, they do. All the time.
That's hilarious. Hi. Oh my gosh.
So yes, this you said my worth is constant, titles change, but who I am remains. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
This was amazing. Oh my gosh. Especially after my day, I really needed this. So I hope that whoever this reaches, may God bless and may this live benefit you in ways that you have been praying about. May this be an answered prayer for you. Because it is something so crucial. Again, like I said, we talked a lot about like parenting and motherhood and all of that. But I mean, for that single individual person in there, I don't even want to throw an age specifically at it to say late 20s, this, that, and the other. But just somebody who is just truly developing and learning and growing and needs to be reminded of who they are. This is so, 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 so good. So I am so thankful that I was able to be on this call. And Karina, you have came even yourself like such a long way. Like, I can't wait to see. I remember when we talked about this, was it December 31st or something? Around that time to black out into this year. And you were talking and saying how, like, you know, this year you're going to be doing all this stuff with the business. And I see it, girl. God sees it. I'm just so, like, I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to see the rest of the calls that you do. Like,
thank you.
On these calls, like I'm talking, these calls need to be, people be hopping on stuff sometimes online that is just like pointless, like useless information. Like, everybody needs to be dialed into this type of stuff. 1000%. Like, yes. So.
Thank you so much. And we'll do it again. I know. Me not. Oh my God, not the chancleta coming out. What?
And he laughs because he knows. Look at the eyeball coming.
I see you. Oh, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this. I truly appreciate you. Hi.
Anytime. You let me know when I'm there.
We'll do it again.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to be launching a workshop pretty soon, and it's going to be about identity. So I'm so excited for that. I want to do it in the fall season because I kind of want it to be represented with the change in season, right? So when fall comes, you know, we're supposed to renew. We're getting rid. We're shedding all that old stuff from the year. And I want to rebuild it with some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Not the hip hop class coming back. Bro, I've never been good with that though. I'm not even gonna lie.
I feel like I'm like grounded right now. I got a little weight on one shoulder from Maya, so I say, hey.
Yup. So I'm really excited about that. So I'll be posting more about that later on. But thank you so much, Krystal, for doing this. Anything you want to plug, anything you want to share about your page and things that you share on your social media?
Just if you are looking for positivity, faith, family, and fun, come my way. I like to also share a lot of just funny stuff too. All good vibes, man. All good vibes. You know, so if that is up your alley, then follow me and come along this journey of life and with kids and all the things. So yeah, that's really
I love that. Thank you so much again, Krystal, for your time. I know you're busy. So thank you so much. I love you. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Have a good weekend. And tell those kids Give them hugs. Give them kisses from Titi Karina.
So
All right.
hi too. I hope they're doing well, and I know we'll chat soon.
Thank you. All right. Take care, beautiful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night, y'all. Trying to get off this thing.